don't do sketchy shit on your app listing. So I've seen people lie. I don't do that. You know, talk about your features honestly. Talk about your integrations honestly. Don't be promoting things that you don't actually do. Don't say you have a free program and then people sign up and they can't actually do anything until they pay. Because that's just going to lead to churn. So not only are you wasting ad dollars driving people to your listing, but you're also hurting your ranking too, because having a really high app churn rate is also going to bring you lower in Shopify's algorithm. So yeah, just don't do sketchy shit.
Don't do sketchy shit. Going back to the ICP though, the average age of a Shopify merchant is between the ages of 25 and 34, and they've come to, that age bracket comes to expect a certain level of information in like a 3-second time frame. So what Tina was ultimately saying was that you need to capture their attention really quickly. And again, tomorrow I'm going to dive into this a little bit deeper with your images, but there's a lot of optimization opportunities within the media gallery that I think should be explored. All right, let's move on to the next question. Is everyone having fun? All right. So, what should you be preparing for Black Friday, Cyber Monday today?
I'll take this one. Something that we've done every year at Smile, as long as I can remember, that has always performed really well, are checklists. There's a few different kind of checklists you can do. You can do ones that are for your merchants that are explaining, here's how to prepare, how to use our app, my app, over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or preparing for it. There's also then checklists you can have that are more general marketing checklists that you're providing for external merchants that maybe they're more general, like this is how to prepare for Black Friday, Cyber Monday in general, or if it's product adjacent, like if you are a bundling app explaining like this is how you can prepare for us in the context of being a bundling app or in the context of being a loyalty app. Pairing those two together, both for your existing merchants and then also for external merchants. We've always seen really good success with it. Oftentimes we'll just take the content from last year, update it with there's any new tips or trends like from this year specifically, and recycle that content. But yeah, checklists are my favorite for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and really you should be preparing that now because it's always Black Friday, Cyber Monday season, it seems like. Every year it's getting earlier and earlier. I have seen some Twitter posts about how this is how you should start preparing, and it's June, so yeah.
Oh, it's not tomorrow.
I thought it was yesterday. So I love those tips, Tim. In addition to some, that's a great external thing for merchants. Something to do internally for merchants as well is just making sure you have really solid onboarding flows. So I've also worked with a bunch of apps that don't have any onboarding flows set up yet, and I think this is a really great place to set this up now. Just because when you think about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, a lot of merchants will sign up for apps and then they'll just use you for the holiday and then they'll churn after. And I do see this with, bundling apps, with post-purchase surveys. Like, it is a common thing that you're like, hey, maybe I want to collect data, post-purchase survey now, and then I'm just gonna not need it anymore after BFCM because I'll have what I need and I'll just move on. But that's where the onboarding flow is a really great way to just continue to teach merchants the benefits of your product and have them excited for all of the opportunities post BFCM too. So I like to have a 5-part welcome flow, just kind of digging into what are the main product features that they should be setting up now. How can they use them to the best of their ability? What are some case studies they can dig into to get inspiration of someone that's doing these things really, really well? Here's how you can reach support team. Add that to every single email. How you can reach support team. Make it super easy. And then also don't forget to continue to email them after BFCM too. So, they might set you up, they might be successful, but then they might still have that mindset of okay, well BFCM's done, I don't want to pay for this app anymore. That's where having a newsletter list and starting to build that and grow that now is also a good idea. And then just keep showing those merchants all the different ways they can continue to use you year round. So for a bundling app, for example, of course, bundles are going to make sense for BFCM, but there's a lot of other holidays in the new year too. There's Father's Day, there's Mother's Day, there's Valentine's Day, there's Easter. There's always going to be opportunity for bundles. But even beyond holidays, there's just good opportunities to have bundles on your site all the time for, putting kits together of skincare products versus having to have customers go find a concealer or like a makeup brush or an eyeshadow kit all separately and build their own bundle. You're just making it easier for them. So these are the types of things that I'm saying to you, but I would also include these things in the emails I send to merchants so that they understand the benefit of these things. And even if you start sending this stuff now, it's a good idea because then you're gonna get it in their mind that you're a year-round product before they even get to the thought of having to think about churning from your product.
How dare they churn? We joked around about like maybe it's a little too early because we're in June to be thinking about BFCM, but I don't think so. It depends on the type of app that you have. If you have an app that's like handling inventory management or pixels for Facebook marketing or something that's going to be a little bit more sophisticated to set up on the front end and that you want it to be firing on all cylinders by the time BFCM comes, then starting today really isn't such a bad idea or far-fetched. And so my thought process is that you're going to start creating those pain points within what life looks like without the app and what life looks like with the app, and selling the dream on what the realities could be. And if you were to make that transition, making the transition now for those types of apps is going to be a lot smoother. And so when the firing happens, I'm going to get into the next point, which is having your customer service ready to go. So having customer service ready to go in a couple of different areas. So there's a proactivity track and there's a reactivity track. And oftentimes I think for BFCM, we think about reactivity. So we're firing off tickets, solving problems, bugs, fixes, all of that. But I'd like you to start to kind of consider the proactivity track. So what can our customer service folks do to allow these merchants to make more money? So in this case of like a bundling app, an upsell app, something along those lines, what can we do a little extra or a little special that we've done with other merchants to help them get that extra AOV during the time that they need to get it the most? And then I guess on the reactivity side, looking through different tickets and things like that. I think, Tim, you have some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, when you're talking about the proactive side of figuring, okay, how do we actually get ahead of the support tickets before BFCM, you should be looking at what were your tickets last year during BFCM, looking through them, figuring out were there any themes, were there any keywords that really jumped out, that you can start putting together help docs now or blogs now to provide that information for merchants so they don't have to come to you and open a new ticket to get the answer they're looking for. If there's something that's really common that pops up during BFCM, have that, have a notification in app that answers the question, have some help stuff even in your app, so they're not having to come to your team and clog up your support queue during the busiest time. So yeah, if you're not going through those tickets during BFCM, you should be doing that all the time, looking for ways to pull out information and put together new content that is answering those support questions. But if you're not doing that regularly, BFCM is like the most important time to do it because it's really going to save you 6 months from now when those tickets start flooding.
And another place I like to look is churn reasons. Directly in Shopify, this is something that we collect, and while it might sometimes be out of your control what those churn reasons are, sometimes there are good indications of things that you can just proactively do now, and so you can see, okay, maybe there's a churn reason here that I can actually address in that onboarding flow, going back to the onboarding flow. So you can just make sure that if there's certain features or certain things people are missing setting up and that's what's leading them to churn, well then that's a good indication of I'm not educating our merchants enough on how to use these things, so I'm going to make sure it gets included. I'll add maybe a 6th email to our onboarding flow or update another one, and just make sure that we're making it as easy as possible to discover everything that they need to know so that that doesn't become a common churn reason anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also taking that messaging and using it for your marketing today. So if you know that they're having trouble with this, that, and the other thing, and they weren't able to overcome it with your app, and we found out actually they didn't even contact support and try to solve the problem within, using those as levers to talk to future